Hi, guys. Welcome to the second lecture for Handout 2. Uh, it's entitled Developing the Whole Person. Okay, so this is in response to those students who express their difficulty in listening to my first lecture video. Okay, thank you so much for giving me suggestions on how I could improve this. Mahirap naman yung nag-e-effort ako na gumawa ng videos and then you halfway through biglang bibitaw kayo. So, sayang kumbaga ang trabaho kapag ganun ang nangyari. So, I hope that you have your handouts with you, and as I go through the entire handout, you try to highlight terms that you feel like hindi nyo naiintindihan, and so that during our synchronous class, we could discuss it further and maybe provide you more examples. Okay? So, what is development? Okay, looking at your handout, development is the pattern of change that begins at conception and continues throughout the lifespan. It involves growth and decay. So the moment that your dad's sperm cell meets your mom's egg cell, okay, meron kagad development. That's what it means by conception. Okay? And this development continues up until you die. Okay? So, mapapansin niyo yan. When you were a baby, you're trying to learn certain things or new things, like learning how to grasp objects, learning how to walk, to talk. When you're in the grade school level, learning how to count, to read, building relationship, engaging in adult relationship, having your own family, working, and this development only stops once you die. Okay? Now, human development is determined by biological, cognitive, and social emotional processes. It is often described in terms of periods. And we are going to discuss this further in handout 3. What when I meant by describing this development per period, meron tayong tinatawag na lifespan task. Yan. So, when we talk about the biological processes, it always involves physical changes in the individual's body. Ano yung nagbabago sa katawan ng tao? Nandiyan yung lumalaki, tumatangkad, bumibigat, diba? Nagkakaroon ng boobs. Okay, breast starts to develop during puberty, pubic hair starts to grow, lumalalim ang boses ng mga lalaki, okay? Adam's apple begins to show sa mga lalaki. So, anything that involves your body, that is the biological process. Next, we have the cognitive process, which is the changes in an individual's thinking and intelligence. So, any change that involves you thinking, that is a cognitive process. How you mature. So, for example, in our activity, diba? Some of you have described how immature relationships with friends are in junior high school. Yung tipong maliit na bagay, pinalalaki, diba? Tapos nagiging magkaaway, they become at odds with each other, and then hindi na magpapansinan. But when we talk about cognitive processes, as you grow old, you mature. You learn how to deal with these kinds of people in a more understanding and patient way. As you also grow old, nag-iiba rin yung way of thinking natin. Kumbaga, mas nagiging madali. Or, not naman madali, pero in how we process information, nag-iiba rin. Diba? For example, nung bata kayo, when you read, you would prefer books with pictures. Diba? So, kumbaga, I remember when I was in elementary, pupunta ako sa library, ang hihiramin kong mga libro is something that catches my attention. So the books should have pictures, should have colors in it. But as I grow older, so, specifically when I was in high school, I learned to love reading pocketbooks, romance novels, suspense, or even mystery novels. Eto, wala nang mga pictures. And that's how cognitive processes also work. Nag-iiba yung interest natin. Nag-iiba yung pananaw natin sa buhay. And then the last one is what we call the socio-emotional processes. These are changes in individuals' emotions, personality, relationships with others, and social context. Okay, so emotions, you will notice when you were younger, siguro mga elementary, pag meron kayong gusto, you're gonna ask for it from your mom, 'di ba? And kapag hindi nila binigay, what would be your initial response? Usually, iiyak, 'di ba? Iiyak, magta-tantrums, hoping na pumayag yung magulang nyo doon sa gusto ninyo, 'di ba? But now that you are older, now that you are emerging adults, hindi lahat ng bagay na hinihingi natin ay agad-agad na makukuha natin. Hindi siya agad-agad mabibigay. Sometimes you have to work for it. So it involves a lot of emotional control on your end. Okay? Personality, yes, that's what we've done the first meeting, or I guess it's the second meeting. Our personality changes based on the channel reflections that you guys did, diba? Or you submitted. You get to realize that the personality could be relatively stable. However, it's also shaped by the environment, by the people that we interact with, by the experiences that we encounter along the way. And yan, relationship with others, sabi ko nga kanina, our level of maturity also changes how we interact, how we deal with people that could be of the same wavelength natin. Kung parehas kayo ng interest, maganda, edi relationship could be formed easily. Pero kapag medyo at odds, magkaiba yung interest, tingin ninyo, magkaiba rin kayo ng wavelength, it could be a lot harder to manage these kinds of relationship. But of course, you will eventually manage it. Ayun. So what we're trying to say here is that all three, the biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes, these are all interwoven. Okay? Hindi yung isa lang ang magde-develop tapos yung isa or yung dalawa maiiwan. No. As one process develops, so was the other two. Okay. Now, let's look into the emerging adulthood. I prefer to call you guys as an emerging adult kesa teenagers or kesa adolescents. Nandoon na kayo sa punto ng buhay ninyo. Papalapit na kayo dun sa punto ng buhay nyo na nagkakaroon na ng transition from being a child, from being an adolescent to an adult. Okay? Now, there are 5 key features that is present in emerging adult, in an emerging adult. The first one is identity exploration. So this is the perfect time for you to really identify and answer the question, who am I? Okay, sino ba talaga ako? Okay, am I a person who is an introvert, an extrovert? Am I straight? Am I queer? Am I, what's my orientation, my sexual orientation, my preferences? What are my hobbies? What are my likes and dislikes? So all of this leads to you identifying your own identity. Okay. The second one is instability. Okay. One of you actually messaged me and asked, this is in reference to the first module or first handout. What do we mean by instability? Okay, sometimes the thing is we could go from different spectrum of our emotions, of our mood. For example, 1 minute we could be perfectly okay, diba? Tapos biglang may mangyari lang, meron lang mag-trigger na something. It's as if our emotions are down. That's what we mean by instability. Okay? That's why it's important to we become aware of this. Para when that happens, we know how to deal with it. The third one is what we call self-focus. The emerging adult phase between 18 to 25 is the time wherein we really want to develop who we are. Lalo na't kapag papasok na kayo doon sa college years ninyo, when you are already gonna decide on what career you are going to push through. And it really involves you looking in yourself. What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Okay? Pagdating ninyo sa college, yes, it's still okay to improve on your weaknesses, pero hindi na panahon para i-develop ang weaknesses ninyo sa college. What I'm trying to say here is that, for example, you're not good in math. Okay? Yung tipong bano, diba? The street term for that is bano sa math. I'm not really that good in math. And this is the reason why I took psychology. Okay, a bit of a story or background. You all know that I took BS psychology in St. Paul, so I am a Polinian. And I do remember uh, I was being interviewed by the sister then. And she asked me, anong gusto mong course sa college? So now that you're applying here in St. Paul, what's the course that you want to take? And I distinctly remember telling her, Sister, ano po ba yung pinaka-onti ang math? Okay? Ano po yung course na pinaka-onti ang math? Because I know, when I was in high school, I cannot really understand how A plus B will equals to C. So, I do not get that. And then she told me, lahat naman may math, pero I I think what is the course that is somehow manageable ang math is psychology. And then I told her, yes sister, psychology na lang po yung course ko. Okay? So, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Being self-focused. When you go to college, you need to explore your strengths. Okay? And yun bale ang, kumbaga, magiging sandata ninyo. Hindi na yung weakness ninyo. You have all the time to develop that weakness, lalo na in terms of the academics nung high school, ngayong senior high school. Because there's no do-over in college. Meron, oo, pero it will take longer time, it will take more money, and it will take more effort kung papalit-palit kayo ng course. The fourth key feature is what we call the feeling in between. Ayan. When we say feeling in between, hindi mo malaman kung ikaw ay bata pa ba o ikaw ay matanda na. Sometimes we have this feeling na you want independence. I'm pretty sure most of you experience this, lalo na kapag medyo strict ang parents. 'Di ba? You want independence, pero you still feel that you need to be dependent on your parents. Okay? Of course, you cannot handle your finances yet because you're still studying. Pero that's what we mean by feeling in between. Okay? We want to be independent. We want to be treated as an adult, 'di ba? Sana wala nang papaalam. Mga ganong mga moments sa buhay nating buhay ninyo as an emerging adult. But of course, there are still limitations. That's why that key feature is there, feeling in between. And the last one is the age of possibilities. It's a time when individuals have an opportunity to transform their lives. So, what I'm trying to say here is that It's an exciting time for you guys, especially now that you are in senior high school, because everything is possible. 'Di ba? Nandoon pa kayo sa punto ng buhay ninyo na mamimili kayo ng kung ano yung magiging career ninyo in the future. What course you are going to take in college. Parang lahat pwede, 'di ba? Lahat makakatulong para ma-reach mo yung career na gusto mong mangyari sa buhay mo. So, this is the age of possibilities for you. Now, we have there the personal assets that facilitate positive youth development. So, we have three personal assets: the intellectual development, the psychological and emotional development, and the social development. So, we are going to discuss this one by one. All right? So, intellectual development is the knowledge of essential life and vocational skills. Ano yung mga essential life and vocational skills? Kailangan at this point in your life, as an emerging adult, you already know how to cook. Kahit man lang magsaing, kahit man lang magluto ng itlog at hotdog. Okay? You need to learn how to go from one place to another. Kailangan marunong na kayong mag-commute, marunong kayong magbayad. Ano pa ba? Yeah, those are essential life skills. Vocational skills, yun nga, yung pagluluto, paglilinis ng bahay, adulting, kumbaga. Yung key term dito sa first asset, which is the intellectual development. Second one is the rational habits of mind. So take note, medyo it's divided into two: the critical thinking and the reasoning skills. When we say critical thinking, this is forming judgment. Okay? Paano ba kayo magdedesisyon? Okay? And then when we talk about the reasoning skills, this is the problem solving part. Okay? It involves you processing the information. And that's what we mean by the rational habits of mind. Hindi pa pwedeng kaya mo to ginawa kasi feel mo lang. There's always an underlying reason why you do certain things. That's what behavior is eh. Kahit anong gawin ninyo, meron at merong rason kung bakit yung ginawa yun. The third one is good decision-making skills. This is you being able to weigh your options. Ano ba yung pros and cons ng decision na gagawin mo? And you do that. Okay? Hindi lang natin napapansin na, ay, decision-making skills pala to. Example, you're craving for something. Diba? And then you're gonna ask yourself, what would I want? A milk tea or a coffee frap? Diba? So, that's an example of good decision-making skills. Next is what we call the in-depth knowledge and of more than one culture. So this is your ability to learn about other cultures. So when you view documentaries, watch anime, okay, I have this one student who explained that she learned a lot about this particular culture because of the anime that she watched. Somehow, it allows you to expand, okay? Pinapalawak nito yung pananaw ninyo sa buhay. Okay? Because kapag ang focus nyo lang ay yung pagiging Pilipino ninyo, yung bansa ninyo, yung immediate environment ninyo, your outlook is also limited to that particular culture. But once you explore other cultures, other nationalities, you get to realize na kaya pala ganun na lang ang, for example, the Japanese, diba? Very admirable yung kanilang self-control and how much they value their names. Okay? So you get to understand where they are coming from based on the culture that they have and based on their history. Okay? Also, okay, I've written here, sometimes culture also involves you learning about their music, politics, and their religion. Okay. Next, we have the knowledge of skills necessary to navigate through multiple cultures. So when we talk about this, it pertains to your competence to effectively interact, work, and develop meaningful relationship with people of various cultural backgrounds. So this is the reason why Filipinos are somehow employable abroad, because we have this ability to really blend to the culture. Siguro dahil sa sanay tayo na maging resilient in um, in times of trials. Okay? Can you just imagine, saang bansa ka nakakita na merong tatlong lahing sumako? The Spanish, the Japanese, and the Americans. 'Di ba? So, dito pa lang, the values we get by being under uh, these three countries, somehow talagang madedevelop ang resiliency ng Pilipino. And when we talk about the skills, number one na dito yung ability natin to converse in other language, especially in English. Okay? I've seen this documentary wherein they explain that Filipinos are like could actually blend in different cultures because napakadali sa atin na i-adapt yung culture nila. Okay? Na makibagay. Sabi nga nila, kahit saang bansa mo itapon ng Pilipino, mabubuhay at mabubuhay ito. And the last one is, of course, school success. Okay? Hindi porket ang grade mo ay line of 7, hindi ka na successful. Okay? Every time that you pass a grade level, every time that you pass a semester in college, that is considered a school success. Okay? Because there is this thinking or there is this rationale that you have learned something, no matter how high or how low your grades is. Okay? Now, we go to the second personal asset. It's the psychological and emotional development. So the first one is, of course, good mental health, including positive self-regard. And when we talk about positive self-regard, it's how much you like yourself, how much you love yourself. And having a good mental health is you being compassionate towards yourself. Okay. The second one is good emotional self-regulation and coping skills. When we talk about self-regulation, ito yung kaya mong kontrolin yung sarili mo. Whether it's your emotions, diba? Kunwari may nakaaway ka, may nagalit sa'yo, kaya mong kontrolin. Hindi ka magpapadala sa emosyon mo na, ay, galit ka, galit din ako. Okay? That is self-regulation. Yung kaya mong kontrolin ang sarili mo. And when we talk about the coping skills, these are you being able to adapt and cope with the problems or challenges that is being presented to you. Okay? Ito yung, ang typical mong baon is 150 pesos. Diba? Kaso ang binigay lang ng magulang mo is 50 pesos. Yung sasakto lang sa pamasahe, papunta at pauwi ng bahay. Okay? So, anong gagawin mo with that? Obviously, hindi ka na makakakain. I remember when I was teaching college students in LaSalle, I have this one particular student na medyo kapos siya sa pera. Talagang saktong-sakto lang yung pamasahe. Ang pera niya para sa pamasahe. So what he would do is that manghihingi siya ng 5. Uy, pengi naman akong 5. 5. Up until the point na makakabuo na siya ng 50 pesos para makakain, para makabili ng pagkain. Okay? That's an example of a coping skill, yung pagiging maabilidad. In other words, buraot siya. Okay, meron din naman another student wherein yun din, kapos din sa pera. So, what she would do is makikitikim. So, kunwari, kakain na ng lunch. They're in this long table, kasama yung mga barkada niya. So, ang gagawin niya, uy, patikim naman ako niyan. Patikim ako niyan, hanggang sa nabusog na siya. Again, that's a coping skill. Okay? Next is good conflict resolution skills. Ayan. Ito yung kaya mong makibagay, makihalubilo sa ibang tao, at lalo na yung kaya mong solusyonan yung problema, yung relationship ng ninyong magkaibigan, magkaklase, magkapamilya. That's good conflict resolution skills. You not giving in to your emotions, you being clear-headed. When you say clear-headed, somehow open-minded ka doon sa opinion ng iba, sa perception ng ibang tao, and you trying to make sure that everything will work out well. Next, we have the mastery motivation and positive achievement motivation. So when we talk about motivation, you are motivated. Kumbaga, you have this desire to become a better individual. That's why you try to achieve things, no matter how big or small this achievement is. You are still motivated to become a better individual. Next, we have confidence in one's personal efficacy. When we say personal efficacy, this is your belief in yourself that you could do it, that you could do certain things no matter how hard or easy it is. That is personal efficacy. Planfulness. Planfulness, of course, yan yung kaya mong magplano. Ano bang gagawin mo sa maghapon? Some of you might write down all the things that you do, that you should be able to accomplish by at the end of the day. Planning on your life, planning on what to cook, planning on what you're going to do for the day, for the week, or even for the year. That's planfulness. Next, we have the sense of personal autonomy, responsibility for the self. So ito yung you could do things on your own. Hindi mo na kailangan ng ibang tao na magsasabi sa iyo kung anong dapat mong gawin. You being responsible with your actions. We have optimism coupled by realism. So kailangan positive. Okay, it's importante yung pagiging positive sa buhay. Okay, but it doesn't mean na so you're gonna be overly optimistic na hindi ka na magiging cautious. That's why may nakasunod na terms dito na coupled with realism. Kailangan realistic ka. Okay? Hindi yung gusto kong yumaman, gusto kong maging milyonaryo, tapos mag-start ako ng YouTube channel, tapos aabot ako ng 1 billion views. Okay? And then after 1 month na hindi man lang umabot ng 1,000 views ang videos mo, biglang magi-give up ka na. It's because you didn't set a realistic goal. Okay? Hindi lang pagiging positive ang key for that success. Next, we have coherent and positive personal and social identity. So, having that personal and social identity, diba? You like yourself, it's consistent, your behavior is consistent with your values and belief system. Next, we have pro-social and culturally sensitive values. So, ito yung, you also think about the welfare of other people, of the society, of our nation, of our culture. Spirituality and or a sense of purpose in life. Okay? Importante yung feeling na positive, you have this sense of purpose sa buhay ninyo. Okay? Why are you doing this? Why are you living? Okay? You could always have this notion na I'm living because I want to be of help to my family. Okay? Ang purpose ko sa buhay para makatulong sa ibang tao. And the last one is strong moral character. Ito yung hindi ka agad-agad magi-give in doon sa buyo ng ibang tao, 'di ba? Lalo na if it is different from your morality, your morals or your values. That's what we mean by strong moral character. And the last personal asset is what we call the social development. Okay? The first one is connectedness. So this is the perceived good relationships and trust with parents, peers, and some other adults. So if you have good relationship, that's where connectedness is being formed. We being connected with other people. Next is the sense of social place or integration. Being connected and valued by larger social networks. That's why it's important that we have our own set of friends, our own set of blockmates, diba? You guys are divided into different groups, ABM, STEM, UMS, A&D. So we need to have that sense of being integrated, being part of a particular group. Next is attachment to pro-social, conventional institutions such as school, church, out-of-school youth development centers. So, importante rin na meron tayong sense of belongingness on a larger scale. For example, you guys being Paulinians, diba? We try to live according to the mission and vision of the school. Okay? Hopefully, somewhere along the way, when you try to remember of St. Paul University, Quezon City, you have that sense of affiliation to them, to our school. Okay? Same with the church. Some of you, most of you are Catholics. Some of you are part of a Christian group. So, being integrated, being part of a larger group is important for youth development. And may dalawa pa pala. The next one is the ability to navigate in multiple cultural contexts. You need to know how you're going to live when you are placed in a different cultural setting. So for example, when you travel abroad, diba? For example, nagpunta kayo ng Thailand, and the Thais are very particular with tourists who go inside their temples. Okay? Bawal pumasok ng temple na naka-sleeveless, na naka-shorts. So you need to adhere to their culture. And that is what we mean by the ability to navigate multiple cultures. Okay? You being able to adapt to their traditions. Okay? Kung kayo ay nasa Japan, they have this tradition of always bowing when they are talking to people or meeting people for the first time. Ayun. And the last one is the commitment to civic engagement. And when we talk about civic engagement, it's really about being part of a bigger group. In our case, you being Filipinos. So ano yung mga civic engagement na kailangan yung gawin? Una, kailangan yung bumoto. Okay? Then we are now in the what do you call that? Period na if you're gonna be 18 by 2022, you should be registering. So that is a civic duty. Civic engagement also involves volunteerism. Okay? Yung pag-volunteer, lalo na sa mga panahon na merong kalamidad. Lalo na't kaya mo namang ibigay yung tulong na makakapagpabuti sa buhay ng ibang tao. Okay? So, you try to turn on the next page of your handout and it has there the story of the two wolves. I am no longer gonna explain this, but I am also posting a video that I got off the YouTube channel, because my time right now is running at 34 minutes, and I know that some of you have already expressed their difficulty in listening to my lecture if it's beyond 1 hour. Okay, so listen and watch the video that I have placed in Aralinks, so that you get to understand the story of the two wolves. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this time you get to finish the entire video. I'll see you guys in synchronous class. Bye bye.